Thank you so very much for being back. If you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. 11 governors from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have approached the Supreme Court to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's authority to suspend a democratically elected government structure in Rivers State. The suit also contested the president's declaration of a state of emergency in the state and the appointment of a sole administrator to oversee its affairs. President Tinubu on March 18 announced a 6-month suspension of Governor Simenalayi Fubara, Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. He appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas at the state's sole administrator during the emergency period. The National Assembly backed the president's action in response to the 11 PDP governors from Adamawa, Enugu, Osun, Oyo, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, Plateau, Delta, Taraba, Zamfara, and Bayelsa filed suit at the Supreme Court. The suit filed through their state attorney generals is based on 8 legal grounds. They asked the court to determine whether the president has the constitutional power to suspend elected governors and legislators and replace them with an unelected administrator under the guise of a state of emergency. Specifically, they cited various sections of the 1999 Constitution, including Section 12, 52, 176, and 180, 188, and 305, arguing that the president's actions were unconstitutional and violated principles of federalism. They questioned the legality of the suspending the elected officials without due process and whether the president can unilaterally replace them during an emergency rule. I still have with me Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Yes, very well said. Barrister, I'd love to believe you are the best person to tackle this matter. Number one, you are, this is your area of experience. Maybe you help us fleshing out what exactly it is the state attorney generals of the PDP states have gone to contest with the apex court, and if it would hold water, if it's ever possible, it would hold water. Or this is just but another textbook, practice or exercise.
Yeah, I think I want to commend the governors of the PDP, the 11 governors. They've done the right thing. They have taken steps that will likely save our democracy in a way. What the National Assembly cannot do, because the National Assembly ought to have saved us from this embarrassment. Like I said, I may not be correct. I may be correct because today in our law, the laws are interpreted differently. In fact, unfortunately, even the courts, with due respect, who are supposed to even sometimes do the right thing, will just dodge or do something else that is not proper. You see, the law allows. And I like the way they do it. It's not if it's taken by the governor of Rivers State as an individual, the matter will start from the High Court, and that will cause a lot of delay. As it is today now, the matter is going straight direct to the Supreme Court, because any issue between the state and the federal government can be argued by the state by the Supreme Court direct, as the Supreme Court has the jurisdiction to entertain it as a court of first instance. So the Supreme Court is the last court. So once the Supreme Court decides, there won't be a waste of time. I do not expect that this matter will take long. It must not. If things are done the way it should be done, it may not even take more than up to a month to be decided. If things are not, because what they will do is just to file a objection application. It's been filed already. It's by way of rejecting someone. The other party will file a counter affidavit, and then it will be adopted, and judgment will be delivered. So for me, I think they've done the right thing. What are they asking for? I've always maintained that the president of the federation has no power to suspend any elected officer in a state, because having regard, just like what they've asked for, they've asked the court to determine whether having regards to Section 1, Subsection 2, Section 5, Subsection 2, Section 176, Section 180, Section 188. And Section 3005 of the Constitution of the Federal Government, as amended, the governor and the president has the power to suspend an elected government or an appointed a sole administrator. They also asked that having regards to Section 4, Subsection 6 of the Constitution, Section 11, Subsection 4 and 5, Section 105, and the Section 305 of the Constitution, whether the president has the power to do that. They are saying, you see, what does Section 1, Subsection 2 says? Section 1, Subsection 2 says that look, in summary, I'm paraphrasing, that the Federation of Nigeria shall not be controlled, nor shall not be governed, nor shall people or individual or group take over control of the federation or any part thereof, except in accordance with the provision of the Constitution. And if you look at our Constitution, Section 5, Section 2 also say that look, executive power of a state is vested in the governor and can only be exercised by the governor, either directly by himself or through the deputy governor or his commissioner or any other person he gives the power to. That's what the Constitution provides. Section 176 is saying that the government shall be the chief executive of that state. So there is nowhere in our Constitution where an administrator is being considered or even make reference to. There is nowhere in that Constitution. So what we have seen today regarding administration is an aberration. If you also look at Section 180, Section 180 is highlighted circumstances in which a governor will cease to be a governor. In other words, if he dies, if he's removed, if this and that happen, if tenure they have 4 years, if the tenure expires or something, those are the circumstances when they can be they will cease to be a governor. Not that there is no where it is stated that when the state of emergency is declared, the president is suspended by the president. It's not stated. Section 188 also provide the means of removing a governor or his deputy. It's stated there. And we also have a Section 4 Subsection 6 that gives the legislative power of the state to the House of Assembly. So in other words, legislative power of the state is vested in the House of Assembly of the state. And those House of Assembly have been suspended by the governor and by the president today. And the Section 11, Section 4 and 5 also goes further to say that look, where the National House of Assembly of that state is unable to sit, the power vested in them shall be exercised by the National Assembly. And the section also provided that the National Assembly shall not have the power to remove an elected governor. It's clearly stated there. So and they say the way and manner a house can be dissolved is stated in Section 105 of the Constitution. In all these sections we have mentioned, I did not see anywhere that is stated that the house can be dissolved upon declaration of emergency, that the governor can be suspended upon declaration of emergency, that once an state of emergency is declared, that because you see one of the excuses given in the broadcast by the president was that that the Supreme Court said that there is no governance in Rivers State because there is no House of Assembly. I beg to disagree. There is no House of Assembly in Rivers State, and they are issuing notice. It's even contradictory because the same president make allusion to the fact that they want to impeach the governor. They've issued notice of impeachment. Where did they? If they are not sitting, where was the notice issued? Who issued the notice? The same House of Assembly that they say does not exist in Rivers State also issue a warrant of arrest against the state INEC chairman. The same what's it called? House of Assembly that we are told by the Supreme Court and the president that does not exist in Rivers State. Also, they gave the governor 48-hour ultimatum to represent budgets and to also represent commissioners. So where were they doing all this?
But sorry to interject. The president equally stated very fundamentally the bombing of the Rivers State House of Assembly as one of the reasons he cited amongst many that contributed to the state of emergency. But that is factual, isn't it?
It's not factual. Is that what I was explaining now?
Yes, but the house, but the Rivers State House of Assembly was bombed. It was demolished by Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
When was it demolished? When was it demolished? It was demolished one year ago. And after that 1 year, they've been sitting somewhere else. The notice of impeachment was issued how many months ago? 2 months ago, or how many months ago? The warrant of arrest against the chairman of the electoral committee was issued when? Was it not just 2 months ago or 3 months ago? The ultimatum to the governor, was it not issued from few months ago, a month or two ago? And when the House of Assembly was born when? Over a year ago. And since that time, they've been sitting. They've been issuing notices. They've been issuing, they've been passing resolutions. They've even passed law, a bill into law. They've passed bill into law. They've fettered the power of the governor. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? That's why I say I bet to disagree with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is one of the reasons why we are where we are today. They are always begging the issue. They are always trying to bend. And you can see the word has been given recently. A party came to you for a resolution. They say it's a party affair. Go back to the party and resolve it. Party, they've come to the court because they cannot resolve it. So I expect the court to look into it and say, look, since that you are complaining about infraction of the constitution or of the law of your party, and you are not able to resolve the issue, the only place who can resolve it is the court.
But don't you think, Barrister, the same people who might be questioning the power of the court in political issues, especially party politics, will be the one to come against the court if the court determines who becomes what? In the case of the secretary of the PPDP, which of course was an issue between Ude and Iwanyan.
That is the point I'm making. The matter they are bringing before you is not just for you to just sit down and say, you look at the paper file before you, you look at the law, you look at their own law too, and make finding on that. Is that not how to go about it? It's not as if you just sit down in your office and say, we have decided to appoint Mr. Soto as your secretary. No, you look at what they brought before you. Look at their constitution. Look at whether or not there are true infraction of the constitution. Whether or not anything has happened in that regard. Whether you have followed the law or not. So if the law is not followed, you have the right to say, look, you have not followed the law. This is not the way to remove somebody. This is not the way to do this and that. You did not do that. You said they should go back and settle by themselves. They said they cannot settle. That's why they were in court. If they can settle by themselves, would they come to court? You say it's a party affair. Go and decide it by yourself. When people are not ready to cooperate.
Yes,
but for example, I say go and settle party matter with Mr. Wike. Did you think he would listen? Yes. The people who are blaming Atiku and PDP at that time now know the kind of person Mr. Wike is now. That whenever he's having issue with somebody, there's no way he can settle it, except he wants to settle it by himself. So it must be him that will determine whether or not settlement will take place. If he's not ready to settle, nobody will settle. So what are you talking about? So if people are not ready to settle, you said they should go back and settle. So let me just say what I'm saying. Yes. The point I'm saying is that, look, it is not correct that our assembly in River State were not in existence at the time the pronouncement was made by the president. They were in existence, and I'll give you facts. They were making pronouncements. They were passing resolutions. They've even issued, in fact, a week before that proclamation, or for days before that proclamation, they issued notice of impeachment. Where were they sitting? If there's no House of Assembly. So for me, it's a deliberate attempt to just take over River State. That's what I see, and that's why you see whatever step that's been taken by the administrator will not be listenable to anybody, because he has no book that is following, no law. He's just there on his own and at the mercy of the president, doing whatever the president wants him to do, as if we are not in the country that are ruled by law.
But
the law is clear that the executive of the state is vested in the governor, and the only governor is the chief executive officer of the state. And the mode of removing a governor it has been stated in the constitution. It is not stated in any part of the constitution that says where a state of emergency is declared, the governor shall be suspended. It's not stated that the elected officers, elected political officers shall be suspended. There's nowhere in that constitution. It's an aberration. It's tyranny. As far as I'm concerned, I particularly look at section 1, section 2 of the constitution, which says that no federation of Nigeria or any part thereof shall not be governed or controlled by any person except in line with the constitution of the President of Nigeria. How do we determine a governor? We elect. That's what the constitution says. For you to be a governor of a state, you must be elected. Who elects this administrator in place today? And that's why you see all the steps that's been taken is being challenged by people. People are worried. He wants to appoint a administrator. They've gone to court, and it's been stopped for now temporarily. He wants to present budget. People are worried. Why will he present the budget? How did you come about the budget? He wants to appoint. He remove political officers. Whatever. People are asking questions. He cancelled all the contract entered by the former governor. People are asking questions because it's not based on law. So people will continue to ask questions as long as it's on seat.
Yes, but
because it's all
yes.
the things that we'll be doing, no basis under the law. No law recognize that.
Yes.
No, I cannot act based on any law. He's just acting based on the interest of the president. So in other words, whatever the president decides is the law.
Yes,
as far as the is concerned.
Yes, you might call this an aberration, of course, which it is what it is. But how come, barrister, I would love you to help me explain this further. If you are in the field, you understand the law, the rule of law, because it's your area of forte. The Senate president is a barrister, is a lawyer who has been there for so many years. So many parliamentarians who voted for the state of emergency, most of them are lawyers. How come these people are oblivious to some of these facts that you have stated here?
Because they don't know.
They don't know?
Yes.
They don't know?
That Mr. Ruto, listen to me now.
Yes.
It's not in dispute that the state president went to law school and went to school. Did he practice? Was he in the system? Does he know anything? It is also on record that Mr. Wike he went to law school and he graduated and he passed. After his graduation, where did he practice? There is difference between reading practical book and practicing. You do not do anything. Rather than going to school and obtain certificate. Funke Akindele went to law school, although he didn't go to law school. He's also a lawyer. Can you ask her to come and interpret the law? Will she be able to do that? With due respect to her. So you see, when we say lawyer, there are people are just lawyer by name. They are not lawyer. They don't have the knowledge of the law. That is with due respect. They don't have the knowledge of the law. They are only called lawyers. So they are called lawyers because they went to law. They attended university, obtained a LLB, and went to law school, obtained BL. Some even went further to do LLM, which is master. That does not make them a lawyer compared to people who are in practice or people who are walking the talk. You can't compare the knowledge of law with those people. And again, let me even tell you, they are not even looking at the law at the National Assembly. They know the law. They know about the law. Don't they know that when they say 2/3 of majority of members, don't they know that you cannot determine 2/3 by false voice false votes? They know now. It's not that they don't even know more of these things that we're talking about now. There are some of them are even elementary that they know. Mm-hmm. But because they have a mindset, they know why they are going. They will pretend as if they don't know, or they will say this is the way we see it. So for me, don't compare when you talk about people who are lawyers or who are practicing lawyers or who know the law. Please, with due respect, some people are just certificate holder. They are just certificate holder. They don't have the knowledge of the law. They have the certificate with due respect, but but when it comes to knowledge of the law, they don't have it. Mr. Wike, the Minister of FCT, who is a bencher, was not awarded that bencher just because of his practice. He was given because of his contribution when he was governor. The money is spending to build a law school, build that, and that was the reason it was awarded. Tomorrow, people will come and say, once you are a bencher, that means you have contributed more, or you have a knowledge of the law in a high level. No, some is just because they have certificate and they have the opportunity to do certain things. So for me, don't say they are lawyers. Some of them are yes. I'm not disputing that they are lawyers, but they are lawyers. You can't compare the knowledge of Mr. Falana and others who are SAS, who are in practice with that of Mr. Fabio, who has left practice for how many years? Since I started practice, I know him as a politician, as a commissioner. Since before I started practice. Since I started practice, and even before he became a commissioner, he was into telecom services, not law. He was into telecom. He was into telecommunication services. He had his office at Adobalede at that time. I know. 1 3-bedroom flat or 2-bedroom flat like this.
Really?
He was doing telecom. Emis or what? I can't remember the name of the telecom service again. Is it Emis or something? So you don't compare those kind of people with people who are truly sitting down and reading law every day and are going to court and determining the issue. So for me, it's not about them not even knowing the law. It's about them not ready to do the right thing. It's about them playing politics. And that was why they did not allow the vote at the National Assembly to be by way of either electronic or any other means. That's why they use the voice vote. How can you determine 2/3 of a voice vote? And you say you have a register attendant. I can register and not vote. I can register and I will not vote during voting. So the fact that my name on the register does not mean I voted in favor of it. So for me, it's about people not ready to do the right thing. It's about playing politics. So the issue of this Section 305, if it's not challenged, and this is a challenge to the Supreme Court as well. Otherwise, if they say otherwise, they'll be setting wrong precedents, and will one day have a president that will suspend all the governors or half of the governors of the state in the name of Section 305. If this is not checked, so I don't want the Supreme Court to come by way of technicality. Let them address the issue, so that it will lay to rest. The issue of technicality should not come. The Supreme Court is not only a court of law; it's also a court of policy. That's what they tell us. So if they are truly a court of policy, they will ignore technicality and look at the issue and address it.
But how much
I've seen them do these days?
Yes, Babadista, how much of that?
Let me finish. What I've seen them do these days is to adopt technicality and create more confusion. You can see what is happening in the Labour Party. You can see what is happening in the PDP. Nobody can tell you this is secretary of the PDP now for now because it's not clear. The Labour Party, nobody can tell you this is the chairman because it's not too clear. Everybody is interpreting the way they like. So for rather than them come clean and say go and settle, and they say go and settle by yourself. It's a party affair. Party affair, yes. And if they can settle, will they come to court? They will not come to court if they can settle. So as far as I'm concerned, the court is there to resolve issues when people don't agree, particularly when it has to do with breach of law or breach of constitution of a party. I expect the court to be able to attend to it, but they are saying the court has no jurisdiction to look into internal affairs of the party. Internal affairs that cannot be resolved, what will happen to it? It will continue to linger. Is that what they are saying?
Yes, but Barrister, how much of that avoidance of technicalities can be possible when we know too very well that the judiciary under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is allegedly hijacked by those in power? Just yesterday, the FCT minister took the House of the members of the River State House of Assembly who are on his side to the UK for whatever meeting they were there for. Of course, we all know it is directly related to what's happening in River State and the future of their position. Now, do you really think this technicality we are hoping would not be part of the things the Supreme Court would use to place their bait would be avoided when we know that those in power have totally taken over the judiciary and control what they do, allegedly?
Yeah. No, it's allegedly you have said it. Allegedly they're taking over the power. Allegedly. But and that's what I'm saying. The court should also act in a way that people will not say truly you have been taken over. And that's why I say Supreme Court, being a court of policy, should not be resorting to technicality in whatever form. In whatever form. Whenever a matter is before you, address the merit of it. Ignore the technicality of it. Address the merit. Because you are not only a court. Apart from outside the Supreme Court, you can't go anywhere again. So you must use that opportunity to resolve the issue. So for me, the point is that you see, except we are deceiving ourselves, the judiciary is not standing firm. It's not standing firm, and that's why you will see a presiding the president of the Court of Appeal being inaugurated as a chairman of board of trustee of a group, of a club,
yes,
wherein we have lawyers as members, wherein we have politicians as members, wherein we have litigants, people that will be having cases in court, in his court or our court, as members. What will happen when those people have pattern before the court of appeal? How will it justify that there was no any collaboration? We are in this country when a senator came up and said, "I want to apologize to my wife that I infiltrated into our private issues affair because I begged her for my colleagues who needed assistance while she was a judge." So those are the issues that's not making people believe in the judiciary, and nothing has happened to date.
And how can we correct that? Can the NJC correct that? Is it ever possible?
Who is the NJC? NJC is not headed by the CJN. That has also been alleged or been biased, allegedly. That has also been alleged that he's working for he's been captured. He's not part of he's not the head of the NJC. The president of the court of appeal is also part of the NJC. What are you talking about? So you see the system is the way it is, and we can only have it resolved if people are going to be upright. There's no sincerity. For me, the state of emergency in Rivers State is unknown to our law. The steps being taken by the administrator is unknown to our law. Has no any basis under our law. There is no any traces of how it should be happening. The emergency situation envisaged under section 305 does not envisage the suspension or removal of any elected officer or appointment of an administrator. What they envisage is that, look, the issue of if you look at that section 305, all the circumstances that can lead to what's it called, the declaration of state of emergency has to do with insecurity or lack of peace. What they expect them to do is to provide more security to ensure that peace is installed, not to remove the existing government. Suspension of existing government is in conflict with the constitution. And I'll be waiting for the Supreme Court to say otherwise. I'll be waiting to see at that day. I'll just raise up my hand that Nigeria is gone.
Wow.
Then that means we have handed over our country. We have handed over our country to individual to do it the way they like. Because once that is confirmed, that the president has the power to do that, I tell you, most states will be declared, even if this president not do so, some other people will come thereafter and will rely on this and start to suspend all government they seen as opposition or that's not doing well that's not supporting they see as not supporting their interests. So it's going to create a dangerous precedent. And in that regard, I expect Supreme Court to be more not to rely on technicality in this case. Look at the merit of the case, whichever form. I'm talking about technicality not because the Supreme Court can come and say what the governments are saying are just mere suspicion, that nothing has happened to them, that nobody has removed them, and they've not been sacked, because they cannot come directly and say they are fighting for Rivers State. They are saying that they will say, "What is your locus?" But they are saying it like a public interest litigation now for the court to determine that, having regard to this section, whether the president can suspend any governor. The court can come and say, I will not be surprised. They come and say, this is suspicion. It's not you cannot rely on mere suspicion, speculation, and file a case in court. That the incident must happen. There must be reasonable course of action. They can tell you that there is no reasonable course of action. So that's why I'm saying they should not go by way of technicality. They should rely on they should look at the merit of the case and lay the matter to rest, and so that everybody will know, because there is no other law that regulates what happened after a state of emergency has been declared. This is an opportunity for the Supreme Court to set that standard so that people will follow it.
So very, very true, Barrister. The onus right now is on the Supreme Court, the apex court, to do the needful so as to avoid what people have concluded as state capture in Nigeria, where people in authority are directly in charge of different arms of government and direct their affairs and what they do. We just hope it will not be our case in Nigeria, because just like you said, the Barrister, it's very important that we do not set a wicked, dangerous precedent for Nigeria that would, of course, consume every one of us and render everyone, incompetent in a country like ours. Thank you so very much, Barrister. We truly do appreciate your insight today.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's just the time we have. I'd love to believe you enjoyed our show, and most importantly, the insight and the clarification that has been made possible by Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid. I enjoyed it. I'd love to believe you will also. But please, you can read up on everything we've discussed when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. And equally, you might rewatch if you may, and when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. That's our take for today. My name is Henry Gubike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Welcome to Homo Politicos. This is Enterprise TV. Kingsley Bass is my name. Today's discussion takes an unexpected turn down the fairway. President of the Court of Appeal in Nigeria, Honorable Justice Monica Dongba Mensem, has just been appointed chairman of the Board of Trustees at the Ibrahim Babangida International Golf and Country Club by the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike. And this raises more than eyebrows. It sparks a conversation. What happens when a sitting top judicial officer steps into a prominent leadership role outside the courtroom, particularly in elite social spaces? Is it symbolic? Is it strategic? Or does this blur the boundaries we should uphold? Well, joining me today to respond to these questions, provide the right responses, the barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, one who plays in that space and knows how things work there. I'm talking about Tunji Abdul Hamid. Tunji, thank you so much for joining me today.
Kingsley, thank you for having me. The only thing is that I no longer know how things works because there's no certainty again since I've turned around.
Yet you play in that space, and your knowledge in that space is still...
That would be correct if you say I play in that space. Then if you say I know how things work around there, I don't know any longer. Because before now, you have idea of what is happening, you have idea about how things will go, but today, you can't tell. So it's a different ballgame.
Well, Tunji, getting into this conversation, first things first, should a serving judge, a serving justice, be heading a golf club's board? Where do we draw the line between civic engagement and judicial overreach?
Kingsley, I have not been a judge, and I don't intend to be a judge. I've never applied for it, and I will never apply for it. But I have been hearing, at least by experience as a partisan lawyer for almost 25 years or 25 years, I am aware that we have been told that judges are always to be heard and not to be seen, and that the social activities of judges, when you become a judge, the social activities are usually drastically reduced. In fact, to an extent that people will not even know you. That even if you kiss a brother to Kingsley, who is a judge, is having a wedding ceremony, we are even being told that he should not be there, or if he's going to be there, he should be in a hidden place. But today you see judges, like one of our members said in a platform, he said, don't be surprised that very soon you will see a sitting judge becoming a BOT member of a party in Nigeria.
Or maybe contesting for a political position.
A sitting judge for that matter. You see, it's unfortunate that a caliber of a president of the Court of Appeal will be the one involved in this kind of a situation appointment. I think for me, it doesn't augur well for our system. For me, because it's abnormal. When you say you are the BOT chairman of a BOT trust, member of a BOT or chairman of a BOT trustee of a golf club, wherein former Governor Wike, FCT minister, and some other members of the society are there. We have so many lawyers in that club. We have so many individuals in that club who will have cases in your courts. When I say in your court now, I'm talking about the Court of Appeal. Because she's presiding over the entire Court of Appeal. She's the landlord, she's the owner. In court, she's the president, and so she determines what happens at the Court of Appeal. So many people will come to your court with cases who are members of this club. And as this today now, we are even aware that Minister Wike has so many cases before the court, and now same Minister Wike is inaugurating the Court of Appeal president as a BOT chairman of his club. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I'm even asking questions, though I'm not a member of the club. I wouldn't know why it's only Minister Wike that is inaugurating them. Is he the only member of the club? When I say club, is IBB Golf Club a part of the ministry in Abuja?
Well,
I don't know.
He did respond to that too, mentioning that there's been confusion as to who really owns the club, and he said that the fact that the land, belongs to or the certificate of occupancy has been given to the club doesn't mean that the government does not run or own the club. He made an example of universities, federal universities in the country, that the certificate of ownership is given to the university, but the federal government still, have authority over the university. But that's not even the focus this morning.
Okay, thank you. Is it saying now that even as a PDP, now that the land belonging to the PDP is in Abuja, the government also has a ownership in that property, in that PDP? Is that what he's saying? He's saying that once I have a club is set up by members, because the land where the club is operating falls within a particular state, that state actually becomes the controller of that club. Is that what he's saying? I agree that there are some things they need to comply with within the state or the whatever. That does not take the ownership or control of that club in the hands of the minister or a governor of a state. That does not put it in their hands. So the fact that they have a land in Abuja and the club land is in Abuja, or where the club is built is in Abuja, how does that affect the control of the club in the hands of the minister? I don't want to know. I beg to disagree with his position explanation in that regard.
Okay,
it's unfortunate.
Well, there's been controversies as regards leadership and some matters, internal crisis within the club, but that's the conversation for later. But this appointment of the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba-Mensah, is the focus, and it's gotten lots of persons talking and wondering, as you've expressed yourself, what does this mean, Tunji, or what message does this send to the public? Does this elevate the judiciary's relevance or risk the judiciary's relevance, making it seem, part of the elite club culture? Does it, with the president of the Court of Appeal now sitting as chairman of the board of trustees of the club, how do you separate that? People have been wondering, what message is this sending to the public?
I'm also wondering here, and I've been saying it, that it's an aberration. It's unknown to our practice. I am not aware of that. I know, like I said earlier on, and even if we are I'm doing a naming ceremony, and I have judges who are my friends, they will not be able to, they will not want to come. And if they are coming, they will come in the dead of the night, where people will not see them and they will not even know that they know me. But today, we have judges who attend party openly and even they go and represent a particular person at a function. You see, it's unfortunate that this is happening. It's unfortunate that the president of the Court of Appeal is the one being involved in here. I don't want to, there's no excuse that can persuade me. Because it's sending the wrong signal to the people, and it's already sending it. People now believe that this is the reason why some judgments are going in favor of certain people in the country. So it's eroding the results coming out of the courts in terms of credibility, because people now see it as a party team. So for me, I'm disappointed that this is happening. It doesn't go well for our system, and it's not the way to go. A sitting president of the Court of Appeal. We're not talking about retired Court of Appeal judge here. We're talking about sitting president of the Court of Appeal becoming a member in that club. Like I said earlier on, those members will be either we have other lawyers in that club. We have people who are litigants who have matters at the Court of Appeal in that club. What do you think will happen when they have a matter? It will not become a court issue. When I say court, I'm not talking about COURT. I'm talking about CULT. They will just discuss it at the club meeting, and that will be the end of the case. So it's no longer what happened in court that determines how the case is going. So for me, he's sending a wrong signal to the people outside the court, the people who are not even lawyers. He's sending a serious wrong signal. Even me as a lawyer, he has sent a wrong signal to me that look, we are doomed the way we had.
So as a legal practitioner yourself, you feel less confident, about possible litigations going to the Court of Appeal?
No, not even Court of Appeal. Kingsley, let me tell you the truth. What will happen, except we don't want the progress in our country. That's what people will say. Don't say that. Kingsley, my confidence in our system, judicial system, is not 100%. I have doubts. In fact, if I give them 50%, if I say I have 50% confidence in our system, judicial system, I'm telling you, I'm just trying to be magnanimous. I don't have that confidence. So this has now eroded my confidence further in the system. So it's not only Court of Appeal. I'm talking about the system generally. But these are taking it too far. What the President of the Court of Appeal has done has taken it too far, as far as I'm concerned. You don't do that as a President of the Court of Appeal. Not as an ordinary judge. Yeah. Don't even do that. You don't go and become a chairman of a club openly. A club that will have members who are litigants in your court. A club that have members who are lawyers in your club. A club that will have people who tomorrow have cases in your court. How do you determine that? Even if you determine the case genuinely, people will still believe that because you are in the same club, that was why you did it what you did in a way that it happened.
So Tunji, she was seen posing, there are pictures now across social media platforms, posing with the Federal Capital Territory Minister, posing with other elites, members of the board, and all of those. Do you think that, the Federal Capital Territory Minister himself is a live bencher, former governor of Rivers State, who should know better himself, but he's pushed through with this, appointed the president of the Court of Appeal. If the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba-Mensah, decided to accept the appointment, which you say shouldn't be, should the minister...
Most important part of that news is that it was even reported by the Court of Appeal themselves on their platform. It was posted by them on their Facebook page.
Which means that there might be nothing wrong. They see nothing wrong with this. Then
that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it more unfortunate. If they're not seeing anything wrong in it. So the misadmission of FCT being a live bencher are not. It's not surprising to me. He may not know because he's not in practice. He only became a live bencher based on his contribution. By virtue of his being a governor and another minister, what he has done to the system, not because of his knowledge in law. With due respect, I'm not aware that he has practiced for 1 year or 2 years. He's not so if he's giving an excuse that does not know, I even accept that. Then the Court of Appeal judge, you know what it means to be a Court of Appeal judge? You know what will take you to get to that level? And the president of the Court of Appeal judge or justices, sorry. For me, I can exonerate Minister Wike. For not knowing, maybe he's not aware, maybe because of his lack of experience in practice. He has not practiced. He has only become a live bencher by virtue of having money and having been a governor or minister and using his position as a governor and minister to contribute to the development of our legal education in Nigeria. So in that regard, he was considered to be worthy of being awarded a live bencher. It's not about academic, it's not about his experience, knowledge of law. It's about what he has done based on his political appointments. So, but the Court of Appeal judge, the justice doing that, for me, I don't know what to say.
Tunde,
it's unfortunate for me.
Can you remember at any point as we begin to close, at any point in your career, you said this spans close to 3 decades. Are there past examples where judges took on public facing, where non-judicial roles, with non-judicial roles like this?
In the era of Honorable Justice Wikitobi, may his soul rest in peace. This cannot happen, and this does not happen because we have been told at that time they are being molded. You don't even see them. That time you see judges like semi-god. You will only hear about them. To see them, when you come across them, it's like you are seeing somebody who have never seen. You are seeing a demigod in them. So for me, Today, justice they've turned it to something else. They now attend party. They now even spend money at party. They now even dance at party. They now even they allow themselves to be captured on camera at the party, and they even represent people, individual at functions. So it's unfortunate. We have reduced the system to another thing. As far as I'm concerned, there is no excuse they can give me. I am not comfortable with it. It's not in line with the ethic of the profession, and I'm not aware. And I'm aware, like I said, judges must be there must be a kind of decorum in what they do. They must not be that expose themselves to so much social life, just like ordinary people. And the essence is that when you expose yourself so much to social life, you mingle with people who have cases in your court. What do? You won't be able to do justice. Even though we don't have justice, what we have is law. There is a difference between law and justice. Because in court, it is not the person that is saying the truth, but the person that can present the facts. That determines whether or not you are right or you are wrong. So for me, he's setting a wrong precedent, a wrong standard for the people that are coming behind. It's unfortunate.
Tunji, you just mentioned, the time when this could not be or couldn't have happened. Could there be a gradual shift in how legal institutions and social power circles interact in Nigeria, where the executive is now openly interacting with the judiciary? Are we gradually moving in that direction?
It's what people are saying. It's already happening. People are already saying that the judiciary has been captured by the politicians or by the executives, and this is the confirmation to what we are saying. When the executive will be the one to build a court and build houses for the judges, what are they indirectly doing? When the executive will be the one to buy car and vehicles for the judges and the other members of the judiciary, indirectly they are buying them. So for me, it's a confirmation of what the people are saying, that judiciary is under siege and that it's been taken over by the executive. And this is a confirmation as far as I'm concerned. There is this belief by people in social media that the executive belongs to the president, the legislative belongs to the state president, Senator Akpabio, while the judiciary belongs to the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike. And we are seeing the way it's happening is looking like people are those permutations have been looking like they are correct. For me, as far as I'm concerned, they are dancing they are making people feel that what they are saying is correct. It's unfortunate that the Court of Appeal president is finding himself herself or deliberately put herself in this position, because otherwise those pictures will not find their way into the Court of Appeal portal and then being spread across the board. Picture by the current Court of Appeal judge with other members of the society. It's unfortunate.
Tunji, we've got to go, but your final thought. What should be the response from the National Judicial Council, if they have a role to play here, or the Nigerian Bar Association in terms of tackling this? Should there be a role you'll be calling them to play to say, stop this doesn't look good?
I expect the NBA to at least petition NJC on this. That's my expectation, because NJC will not take any step except there's a petition. That they will not even behave as if they see anything. They will tell you they don't deal with social media. There must be somebody must report. So if they don't report from anybody, nothing will happen. So I expect NBA to take this upon themselves, file a proper report, and then condemn this action. And even issue a statement condemning the action of the Court of Appeal president. Unfortunately, it's not a good standard. I regret what has happened. As far as I'm concerned, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
All right, Tunji Abdulhamid, barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I'd like to thank you so much for your time and for your comment on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate that.
And thank you for allowing me to express my opinion, even at my own peril.
I'm not sure what that means, but thank you very much. We appreciate your time again. Well, that's Homo Politicus. We hope that this will be handled properly, and maybe proper explanation given to the public, so that the confidence, already eroded confidence of the public in the judiciary, can be restored. And this doesn't speak well. As a matter of fact, if you hear comments from Nigerians, it's not pleasant. And so we need to set the record straight. And maybe the Court of Appeal can speak to this. Maybe the Chief Justice of Nigeria could speak to this and set the record straight so that there would be no confusion. But yes, thank you again, Tunji.
The only thing that they can say that will persuade me is to deny that she was appointed as the chairman. She's a member of that board of trustees. Or she usually say that she's a member of the club.
With those pictures there. Okay.
Not impossible in Nigeria. They can deny. They can tell you it was just there to see somebody, and he was asked to take a picture, or it was an old picture.
Oh well, that would be interesting to see. Considering too that I've not seen that, but as you said, it's this was even.
It could be AI. It could be AI generated photo.
To see what you are doing there. But we've got to go. Thank you so much, Tunji, for your time. Well, this has been Homo Politicus on Enterprise Television. Stop by the comment section. Let me know what you think of this, and if this affects your confidence whatsoever in the judiciary, if you're a litigant as well, maybe at the Court of Appeal, if this would affect, in any case, if you feel like this would affect your matter in any case. But yeah, again, thank you very much. Kingsley Bass is my name. Until next time, have a fun time, and God bless. God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Hello there, and welcome to yet another offering in the series In Conversation. I'm Emeka Madnago. My guest today is a Nigerian playwright, poet, dancer, journalist, and actor with an enviable cabinet of trophies for a writer of his generation. He's a dramatist with an original voice on stage, but his genius has found him doing exploits on screen as a documentary filmmaker and television journalist. In 2022, he won the Nigerian Media Merit Award TV Production of the Year after receiving nominations for Best Reporter of the Year for 2018, 2019, and 2020. He's a two-time Trek Africa TV Reporter of the Year for 2019 and 2020. He is one of the recipients of the 2021 Royal African Award by His Imperial Majesty, the Ooni of Ife, Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, and he received honorable mention at the 2023 Diamond Award for Media Excellence. He is the executive producer of Abibatu Mogaji, the play, a dramatic mirror on the life and times of the mother of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria's president. It is our joy today to share the moment with Ola Awako. That's in a bit. Hello, Ola Awako. You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure is mine.
Looking at you, you seem so relaxed. Is that what being in the literary world do to you?
Well, the literary world makes me relax because that's where I live in, that's where I feed from, and that's where I do everything that makes me a human being, because I believe so much in creativity. And people ask me, how do I create time to do these things, even with my busy schedule as a journalist?
Yes, because I was about to go there. As a journalist, you have time for all this.
It's passion. Yeah. You create time for what you love. And I can sleep and wake up. I pick up my pen to write. It could be a poem. It could be a dialogue. It could be monologue. It could be anything. So I leave it. I'm always relaxed when I'm in the creative atmosphere.
So what moves you to pick up your drum?
So
For instance, can you pick up your drum around 2 a.m. and start?
well, if the inspiration says I should, if muse comes and says pick up your drum and the idea comes, I can pick up the drum. But well, I don't need to pick up a drum 2 a.m. because
What if the spirit summon you at 2 a.m. to start drumming? Like, you see, before we dive into your book, Echoes of the Drums, you know, the drums, so powerful, the influence so powerful.
Yes.
And then, just trying to tie it, what if the urge?
Then I respond.
You respond?
Yeah, it's spontaneous.
Yes. Okay.
I respond to it. When it comes, I have to respond to it. Even if I need to make a little adjustment to that, creative flow. Okay. But at the moment, I just have to respond to it. Then later I'll go back and look at it again.
So when you say echoes of the drums, what are the drums echoing? Because drums are usually loud. But when they start echoing, what are they saying in the echoes?
Not all drums are loud.
Why?
Not all drums are loud.
Why? Purposely?
Yes, purposely. Some drums are solemn. If you say loud. Not all drums are loud. Some drums are played to, drums are played to even create dirge at times.
Yeah.
So such drums are not loud. But when drums are loud in terms of the literary sense of the reading, then it depends on the message behind the drums. But for echoes of the drums, the loudness of the drums in this speak peace. The loudness of the drums speak unity. The loudness of the drums speak cultural appraisal. The loudness of the drums speak, unity in diversity. So that's what I use the loudness of the drums and echoes of the drums to preach.
No, but there's somewhere where the loudness of the drums also say the woman in labor.
Yes, that's the loudness of the drum. So echoes of the drums in its entirety is a celebration of the power and the potency of drums.
Oh, drums, okay.
And the setting of the play is actually in the clan of drummers, where everything they believe in, everything they live in, what they worship is the drum. They worship the drum. So it is believed in that scenario that whenever anyone from that clan wants to give birth, it is the echoes from the drums that ushers the baby out, especially from that particular clan. Agbuleanyo, which happens to be the head of the clan, is Abayo.
Okay.
Is the head of the clan.
Okay.
So for a very long, the family has not been able to give birth for a long time. So at the point, the play begins from when the wife is about to give birth, and it's required that the devotees in that clan are to play rhythms, to produce sounds that will be rhythmic to enhance the birth, the delivery, to enhance the delivery. So, but along the line, one of the devotees, you always have Judas.
Yes, I was coming to that. Drama too.
Drama too. Yes, believes, we should have been bigger and better than this. We've been doing this for ages. Why we just continue to drum and drum and drum? But the thing is, they're supposed to produce rhythms, coordinated rhythms for the babies or the baby to be able to come out. But any obstruction in the middle can actually obstruct the delivery. So the Abayan was coming out to say, please, was begging them to, please, this is all I have. Probably this is the only chance for my wife to, give birth. And if anything happens, he may not have that time. There may be no time, on our side again to, give birth. Just help me play the rhythm. So at a point, the drummer too had to leave, angrily that, no, I can't be part of this any longer. So Abayan had to join, to fill in that vacuum, to play the rhythm for the delivery to be safe. So
was that no more like an attempt at survival, a desperate attempt at survival? For Abayan to have picked the drum.
Yes, because this is you are expecting, just like you've been married for like maybe 10, 15, 20 years, and and now you have your wife is heavy and point of delivery, and there's just one thing that needs to be done for everything to work out fine, and somebody is obstructing it. Won't you, if you have the chance to go there to fill in the vacuum to make it happen, you will go, because you're desperate about, yes, I want to see my children, I want, to see them, my baby, the babies that will come forth and, take up these trade or this occupation that we do in this clan, which has to do with drumming.
Yeah, I see that, and in some places, just not just I see that in the encounter between them, and the bush baby.
Yes. Where
Shango comes in.
Yes.
And of course, it's like they had to take their destiny in their hands.
Okay. So the plot.
How do you tie that from when before, just as about they were to be born?
Yes.
And when they are returned, how do you tie that?
Okay, the storyline is after the delivery.
Yes.
Eventually, the mother died. Faith has it that way,
But that's what Drama 2 wanted.
Well,
because he said here
the mother's death.
He said, I do not care if she dies.
Not just the mother's death, but even for the babies not to come alive. There are people like that. Not just because if the mother dies, the coordinated rhythm would actually make the delivery to be smooth. Do you understand? So if the drums were not played in such a coordinated platform, maybe the delivery wouldn't have been, that's good. But after the delivery, the mother died, But in the course of the babies growing up, it is believed that when they grow up, for them to get to that level of manhood, for them to know that, yes, we are now men, we are brave, they need to go on, a voyage, of adventure, of pleasure, and of treasure. So it's that voyage, when they go on that voyage and they return, then they now, it's believed that they are now men, they are real men. So, but the father took out time to put them through the rudiments of them producing coordinated readings themselves, because they now come out as triplets. They come out as triplets, and the triplets are Nyonlade, Olude, and Awogbola. Now, they are so symbolic. Their father gave them 3 drums, Gongon, Omele, and Bata, for them to hold on to as their symbol of survival. So, but for them to survive together, they have to always play coordinated rhythms with these 3 drums at all times for them to survive collectively. So it's in the process of, teaching them, they say, okay, look, you have to go on this voyage. And they too, they're actually eager to go on the voyage that, look, Father, you've taught us survival. Let us go and experiment the survival that you've taught us. Let us go on this voyage, and with your blessing, we'll come back to the village, safe and with all the necessary things that you want us to bring back. So we went on that voyage, but along the line, as humans, there will always be friction. So they had friction, and they went there.
And they almost paid for it.
But yes, they went their separate ways eventually. But in going their separate ways, the 3 of them encountered difficulties, and they couldn't help but come back together one way or the other. Because so one of them who happened to play the bata, in the course of playing that bata, Shango heard the sound of bata, because bata is connected to Shango. Heard the sound of that bata and came to his rescue. And another beautiful thing about this play is that the 3 characters, the triplets, they have super powers. Because what I want to build in this is to create them as superheroes. There's still going to be the animation, version of the play, and so I'm creating them as superheroes. There's one of the triplets who has who can recall what happened, their pre-birth experience. Pre-birth experience, while they were still in the spiritual realm, what happened, the conversation with Eledumare and all that. So he could recall. Then there's another one, among the triplets who can see, who can interact with the spirits. So he actually has spirit friends that guides him. It's just like we now, if you are connected to, if you are so spiritual, we understand that a voice speaks to you. Do this, don't do that. So he has his friends, like 2 of them or 3, that he speaks to whenever he's confused. He asks them questions. He's the only one that sees those friends. Then the third has a semblance of he will just see shadows, just have an idea of, okay, I can see shadow. So the 3 of them, they have their they have their supernatural powers that helps them to survive. So when they came together, they were able to surmount the challenges that they faced. And that brings us to the thematic preoccupation of unity in diversity, the thematic preoccupation of peace and unity, basically.
Yeah, so just tell us, because this place rooted in Yoruba culture and tradition. So tell us the power of drums in Yoruba culture. How, tell us, what's the power of drums, as it relates to Yoruba culture and tradition?
The power of drums,
and if you can also tell us about these different drums, yes,
cannot be overemphasized.
Yeah.
Beyond the Yoruba culture, drums play a pivotal role in human existence. And basically in the African society, drums are very, very powerful. If you go deeply into the play, you discover that I try to portray the significance of drums for survival, significance of drums there's a particular character Atonda who was at the verge of committing suicide. It was the drums, the coordinated rhythms, that helped him. So it helps also to cure depression.
Yes, I see it here. Yes, Abayo said it.
Yes, it can be used to cure depression.
Yes.
It can be used as a form of exercise. It can be. It has a therapeutic function.
Yeah, you will burn calories.
So there's a whole lot that the drums, but most especially when it has to do with its culture. That has to do with culture. It plays a very strong role. There are some part of the society that uses it for occultic reasons. There are some drums that ordinary people cannot just play the drums. It has to be people who have been initiated. There are some drums that are used for initiation. There are some drums that are used for entertainment. There are some drums that are used for, so there are different drums for different purposes. But the ones we know are the drums that we use for entertainment. You play them, you dance, you sing, so they have their different functions, and all these we need to continue to push for to amplify their significance in the society so that it doesn't go into extinct. And that's why we are using this as a platform to say how many of our children can play drums. I can pick up the baton and play it. Some drums speak, like gong for instance. You don't have to say anything out. When you play gong, if somebody who understands the language of the drums will know that this is what you're saying, you can use it to communicate. And that's what we are pushing with the drum. There's a coinage I made that's called drumunication.
Yes.
Drumunication.
Yes.
Because in the play, there is a foundation that is created in the play. Drum to cure foundation.
Yeah, drum to cure.
As a result of the Abayan using his drums to cure Atonda from depression, bringing him back to life. So there's somebody from the city who came to the village who saw that power of the drum and said, look, you can't just keep, celebrating drums in your closet. Let us take it global. I'm going to help you create a foundation around it. And we'll use that foundation to sell to the world the power of the drum. So we now created what I call Drum to Cure Foundation, which by the grace of God, we are bringing it to life from the play to life itself, to push the significance of drums.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's one thing to play the drums. It's another thing for people, for the drums to summon the creative force, in people to summon that response. Where do you now find the dissonance between the two? Because you talked about unity. Now, if the drum, doesn't summon that creative force, how can the people be united?
Well, it has to do with, number one, self-discipline. It has to do with our understanding of that force that is, that force around the drums. Now, it is literary. If we look deeply into how the encounters of the triplets in their voyage, during their voyage, you discover that if they had staged away, if they had believed that, okay, individually we will survive, probably none of them would have returned back to the village, returned back to for the celebration of their return and all that. But if we look at that and the outcome of how they were able to create coordinated reading and them returning back to the village, we will know that the drum can be seen beyond its physical realm. When you play it, even for you, if you are probably having a disco, maybe you are at a party or a function and the drummers are playing, and you know that there's a disconnect, you will feel it in your soul. Probably you're dancing, and one of the elements of the drums, plays off tune. You will know that there's something that is happening in your body. So it's the same thing that applies to our existence as a people. Okay. When you know that there's this unity, you will feel it within yourself that there's this unity, and you are disconnected from, the real sense of the real sense of reality. So that's just how it applies to it.
Let's escalate it to the Nigerian stage. How do you apply this to Nigeria? And what would you say from this to Nigerians?
The theme of unity in diversity. Now, some people, some analogies, a school of thought, while doing their review of the play, says it covers the triplets, cover Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. And the Igbo. And I say, well, Wazobia. You can take it beyond that. But they are triplets. And in Nigeria, take it or leave it, these are the three major tribes, and we celebrate Wazobia a lot. Although we have over 250 to 300 tribes, but we celebrate the triplet. So the unity that helped them to survive is what I try to preach in the national, that national sense of it. Without that coordination, if as a people in Nigeria, let's say Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, if we don't speak in one language, which is the language of the drums, in this sense, then we will be divided. And if we are divided, there will be infiltration from other quarters. And when the infiltration comes in, our division can cause us doom eventually. So what I'm preaching with the play is that let's continue to, even the triplets that were born from the same mother, they have friction. Let alone those of us that were born from different, we have different biological, backgrounds and all that. So definitely there will be friction, there will be misunderstanding, but in our misunderstanding, because we are from a father, that is the Abayon in this sense, and that father is, in quotes, Nigeria. So that father has the responsibility to make us believe that we need to create coordinated rhythms, coordinated dialogue, coordinated sense of belonging for ourselves, for us to exist, for life as a society. So the theme of peace and unity is sacrosanct with this play. Also, there's theme of ecotourism, because in the course of their voyage, there is one of them who actually has knowledge of the power of herbs, the power of leaves for survival and all that. So they're able to see a whole lot to teach about what leaves can do, what roots can do, what all this can do. So it's very, very important that we imbibe that spirit of coordination for us to survive as a people.
So, who are your influences in the literary world?
Well, I pick inspiration from quite a number of literary giants.
Yeah.
Looking at from an aspect of me that talks about my poetry aspect, Professor Shundari, pick inspiration from him. Then also I pick inspiration from Professor Wale Soyinka.
Oh yeah.
So then I try to also create a niche for myself. After I have done this, pick from here. Now creating a niche for myself, because I don't want to be called Professor Shundari. I don't want to be called Professor Wale Soyinka. I want to be called Olanwakon. So that when others are also coming up, they will say, I pick inspiration from Olanwakon. So I've created a niche for myself with my own style to be able to, sell my message to the society.
So where do you expect this book to go to? Beyond, because Ben Tomology says you've done the premiere at Mission Center, and he had some very nice words to say, even Babajide Kolade Otitoju. So where do you expect this play? How far do you expect it to go to? Have you translated it into more languages than English? And do you intend to take it on a nationwide tour or a global tour or what?
Well, the play was actually written in 2005.
Okay.
It won a prize in 2015. It was premiered by the National Troupe of Nigeria in 2022 for Nigeria's independence, 62nd independence. And an excerpt of it was first staged by the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. An excerpt, that's just the prologue. That was in 2021, before the full text was premiered in 2022. Then after that, we did another premiere, another production in 2024 at the World Drummers Day in Abuja. So, but what we try to push with this, which we are still having discussions with Brazil, for instance, with Jamaica, with the UK, is what I call global drummunication tour. Okay. That's what we're pushing with this play. Because we know that the power of drums is not restricted to a particular society. It is a global phenomenon.
Yes.
And with that sense, the Brazilians are saying that we should bring it over to Brazil. And we are doing collaboration with the society, the Brazilian society, to see how we can make some of our actors with their actors. They have affiliations with us as a people. So we are doing it there. Even there is a UK-based Jamaican actress who has seen the play, and she brought up an idea that they have a very strong drum culture in Jamaica.
Yes.
And we want to also have a collaboration by taking it on a tour. So the global drummunication tour is something that has to do with us picking performers from 2, 3, 4, 5 performers who are actually drummers, because this play is a drum drama, first of its kind, and all the performers are drummers. So this is a play that gives voice to drummers. Rather than having a performance, a total performance, and you put the drummers by the side as orchestra, now these are drummers coming to do their thing themselves. Not actors acting what drummers should be doing. So all the actors in the play are professional drummers. That was why we wanted to do it in Abuja. We had to sit with the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. They were the ones that coordinated the drums. So the rhythms and everything, was done by the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. So it's a whole lot that has to do with drums in the play. So we intend to take it to, for now, the Lagos State University. They have they are going to stage it for the students. So they've bought copies. Olabisi Onabanjo University, that happens to be my alma mater. They are also recommending it for their students. They from Ife, I think the cultural institutes there, they are actually staging it for, I think they're having a Yongalu festival or something like that. So this is the play text that they are using for the festival. So and we are extending it to as many individuals as possible, because it's a play that should not be restricted to a particular section of the society. It's relevant to everybody. It's not rated 18. Children can pick it up and go through it. Adults can go through it. Youth can go through it. It helps us to bring back our cultural significance. It helps us to renew our value system, to connect us to the roots. All of us, if you go back to your roots, there is a drum that is connected to you. And that's why I'm working on a sequel on this. There's a drum from the East, that I'm going to do a sequel on, and some of these characters are going to be, merged with the characters from the East. So I'm also doing a sequel with it. But what I want to do is to make sure that the three characters, just like saying Superman, Spider-Man, and all that. Yeah. So those three characters are going to be featured in the sequel.
Okay.
You understand? But in that regard, we are going to pick on drums from the East and use the drums from the East. But those characters will be. So I want to do sequel to it, and by the time we're now creating into maybe animation, into this. So Anyola Day, Olude, and Awogbola will be like Superman, Spider-Man with their own, Batman with their own attributes and their superpowers. Yeah,
just before we round off, tell us about Abiba to Mogaji, the play. It's the boss right now.
Yes, Abiba to Mogaji is the boss. It was a project I started in December last year. And actually, the reason for the project is to immortalize Alhaja Abibatu Mogaji because of her contributions to the Nigerian polity. You cannot talk about the exploit of Mr. President without referring to his mother, because the mother played a pivotal role in his existence and his survival and him becoming who he is now. The first 1+1 that he actually learned it from his mother, because he was the first secretary, like the first secretary of his mother, and he was always following his mother to the market to take stock of the goods, the produce and all that. So he learned all those from his mother, and then looking at what she contributed in terms of trade development in Nigeria, in terms of the political, her political contribution, contribution to the political setting of this country during her lifetime, because she did a lot, for the sage, Obafemi Awolowo during her time. Away from that, her contributions to humanity, because during my research, I discovered that the people I interviewed made me realize that she made them what they are today. There was a woman from the East that I interviewed, and she told me that Mama Abibatu Mogaji was the one who converted her from being a Christian to a Muslim. And how did it happen? Anytime you're with Mama during her lifetime, you must pray with her. If you happen to be around her, you must pray 5 times with her. And when you pray 5 times, she pays you 5 times.
Oh, really?
When you pray the first time, when you're done praying, she gives you something.
Wow.
When you pray second time, she gives you something. When you pray third, so, that kind of a thing will bring, you're not, number one, is doing you, she's the one doing you good. She's connecting you more to your maker.
An older person.
You understand? She's connecting you to your maker. Away from that, she's also economically, empowering you economically. So many people came around her, and the prayer she also offered, the way she was so close to God for her son, for Mr. President, also played a major role. So when we did the premiere in Abuja, I presented the frame to him, the mother praying for him. There's a picture, so I made it into a big frame, and I tagged it Mother's Prayer, which has actually led him to where he is today. So she did a whole lot to, the development of the society in her own quarter. So we're bringing the story back, and what I'm doing with that is to start up a series that I call Tales of Legend. So we're going to be picking legends one at a time to look at their exploit, because if we don't inspire this generation, they can expire. They not that they can, they will expire.
They will.
Because what has kept us this far has been the inspiration we got from our forefathers. And we need to keep that going. So we are using a story to do what we call women advocacy. And the person who actually wrote it is Professor Ahmed Yerima. I commissioned him to write it. And because of his track record in terms of the plays he has written for women, he has a strong knack. He has a knack for women advocacy and women empowerment and all that. We said he can also do justice to this. And I'm the executive producer, and we've done the Abuja production where Mr. President, saw it, and Mr. President, Vice President, Senate President, and all, the powerful men were there to see it, including Dangote was there to see it. Then we did another production for the public in Abuja. Then we came to Lagos to do another production where Mr. Governor was there to see it, Yaloja and all the like. So it's just to say this woman did a lot. In fact, another thing that we try to preach with the play is mentorship. Not too many youth of today wants to be mentored. And before she became the Yaloja General of Nigeria, she also learned from somebody. That's Mama Kwele Wura. So she was also mentored by somebody. So there's a whole lot that we are trying to preach with the play, with the power of live theater.
Yeah, just a quick one. You appear to have different irons in the fire. Who is Ola Awakon? Tell us about yourself, your wife, your children.
Well,
how do you combine all of this with family life?
I'll use one word to explain this, and that word you can't find it in the dictionary anyway. It's my coinage.
Okay.
It's passion consistency.
Okay. That's a new one. Passion consistency.
Passion consistency is my word.
Yeah.
And number one thing is passion. I started as a visual artist in primary school. I grew up in a place called Ajegunle slum in Lagos. And
AJ City.
AJ City.
Is a city.
AJ City. AJ City. And I was 5 months old when my grandparents, my paternal grandparents took me from my parents. I was 5 months old because my father happened to be the only surviving of the children. So I was taken 5 months. I started living with my grandparents. So I grew up to see my grandfather as my father. And my grandfather was a cobbler. I was a cobbler, ex-serviceman who became a cobbler. So he was always using leather to create. As I speak with you, I can make shoe, I can make palm, I can make belts, I can make anything with, animal skin. So he was a cobbler. So that's an aspect of creativity. And my grandmother happened to be, a hair maker, hairstylist. Yeah. So the traditional hairstylist. So as I speak with you, I can weave hair. So I think that's my first point of, developing my creative juice. I grew up to see these things, and I started admiring creativity in that line. And my father happens to be retired as a senior superintendent of press. That's journalism. My mother was actually a professional photographer. That's photojournalism.
Wow.
So this is my world.
Okay.
I went to the university to study mass communication. I did mass communication from Olabisono University, my first degree. But as a mass communication student, my second department was performing arts under the tutelage of the late Uncle Charles, Baba Charles Shomade, and Uncle B, Bayo Oduneye, were the ones who tutored me in the theater. But, I started drawing when I was in primary school. I can draw, I can paint. I was the best fine art student in secondary school. I joined Cultural and Dramatic Society in secondary school. So all these form who Ola Awakon is. So I call myself a journalistian because I'm a journalist.
Another coinage.
That's another coinage, a journalistian.
Okay, yeah, you didn't tell us about your wife and children.
Yes, my wife, Omolola Bukola Ola Awakon, She's a sociologist. She's a Dubai-trained perfumer. She has 2 kids for me for now. You know, I'm still looking forward to a twin anyway.
So the drums are still beating.
The drums are still beating so strongly. My first daughter is Araola Oluwa.
Okay.
And she's just 6. She's left-handed.
Okay.
My father is also left-handed anyway. So I love left-handed.
Wow. This family connection is so strong.
And my second child, Kurisola, is just 2, and we are doing very, very, very well.
Okay.
You know, I'm trying to also make them see the power of creativity
and the power of the word.
And the power of the word, the power of the drums and all that. So I'm introducing them to what I believe in and what my wife also believes in. So we're trying to build a big, happy family.
One big, happy family. That's what we are as human beings. That's the message from our guests, Ola Awakon. You may like our pages and subscribe to us. We are Enterprise TV 7 on all social media platforms. And our website is www.enterprisetvnews.com. Till we come your way again on In Conversation, I am Emeka Madnago. Thank you for watching.
Do you want to see my proteges? You want to have a feel of my offsprings? You want to see my children who are actually dishing out readings? Come to the land of echoes of the drum.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.